Yo, what's up, everybody? Lawler here. We've got some stuff to update you guys in regards to the Intel World Open. Some good, some bad. Some memey, I guess, is the best way to explain it. But we've got 4 regions that are competing. 2 have already finished. Asia Mainland and then Asia Maritime and OCE. Their regional finals have already gotten underway. And there's 2 stages. There's group stages, and then there's actually the playoff bracket. Group stages are happening right now. You can actually go and watch and check out the Americas region, EMEA, all those have already started to kind of wrap up. They're actually happening right now as I'm talking. That's why I decided to keep an update on this. But the playoff stage and kind of the predictions of it, we'll be talking about here in a bit. But primarily in today's video, we're going to kind of recap the stuff that has happened to give you guys an update of which teams have made it, who's playing with what, all that kind of stuff. And get you guys up to date on all the craziness that is Intel World Open, which, again, has some complications. And what is up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things rock. They're going to be talking, like I mentioned, about the Intel World Open. If you guys don't know, it is supposed to be a $250,000 tournament where a bunch of teams sign up as their region or their place of residence. So you could have a team from the United States beat Turbo Pulsa and 2 others. They were going to sign up as Envy, but ended up not doing so to go and compete. And then based upon who does the best through this crazy qualifier situation, would get to represent their country at the Olympics. That did not happen because of the pandemic, but they are still holding it within the region. So to kind of break this down, we've got obviously 4 regions that are playing in the finals. And within that, in the Asia Mainland regional, there is Japan and then the rest of Asia Mainland, which is Malaysia, Singapore A, and Singapore B. In Asia Maritime and Oceania, it is Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia A, and Indonesia B. In the Americas, we've got a little bit more of a spread. We've got Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Mexico, United States, Uruguay, and Puerto Rico. And then in the EMEA region, we've got South Africa, Czech Republic, Norway, Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, France, and Germany. All the things I'm talking about, if you guys would like to follow along, also in the description down below. And if you guys have any additional questions for coverage, let me know in the comments as well while you're down there. Right now, Asia Mainland and Asia Maritime OCE has already finished their first part of the finals. The way that it works is both the first 2 regionals for both Asia Mainland and Asia Maritime are in a 4-team round robin in a group stage. The winners of that are primarily just for seeding in a page playoff style system, which with 4 teams is kind of crazy. If you take first place in the group stage, you automatically find yourself in the grand final. It's actually kind of nuts. I don't know how I feel about it in particular, but the nice thing about these 2 regions, because they don't have more than 8 teams, seeding is not a problem. Teams just play each other and then the winners move on. There has been a lot of complications surrounding the Intel World Open, just in regards to format, how things are handled, all the different things going on. And primarily it has to do with seeding and a lack of, I guess, foresight on some of this stuff. One of the people from ESL, which is the production company, I think he's from ESL, basically stated that the reason why they're not doing seeding is because they want it to be as close or as similar to the Olympics as possible. And ironically, the Olympics is a seeded event. It has been for a very long time. And there's a reason why. You obviously want to make sure the 2 best teams are getting to the final. And in this circumstance, we do get some group of deaths, which we'll talk about later. But primarily, the reason for them not seeding is, 1, they want to make sure it's fair, and there's a lot of people making the argument about how there's not enough history or examples to know how good these teams are. Like, you can pull up some of these teams and be like, yeah, it's 3 players from the same country. We've never seen them play together. But I can also look at those players and be like, yes, this is a notable player. This is a notable player. This is a notable player. They should be higher seeded than a ragtag group of players that we've never heard of. And that's just not happening. You've got some of the best teams in the world, primarily Europe, like a team like Team Queso that signed up all together, where we have a year of history, and they're like 200th seed or something. It's something ridiculous, even though they're like a top 5 team in the region. Although they're disbanding now probably, which is, again, crazy roster offseason. We'll talk more roster changes tomorrow's video. But that has been kind of the primary issue. The Group stages or the elimination stages for open qualifiers have been all at one day instead of over the course of two. So there's been long wait times and seating issues and a lot of frustration for some people. And so far in the finals, the biggest concern has been, again, no seating, which has led to some interesting results. Enough of about like the actual format and everything that's going on. Like I said, $250,000 online. That's split evenly across the course of like all the teams. Less prize pools because there's only 4 teams in Mainland and Maritime for Asia. And then for America and EMEA, I think it's like 80,000. Yeah, it's 80,000. So 45,000 for the 4 teams, 80,000 for the 8 teams. So the ones that we have started with, and the one that I'm going to start with is Asia Mainland, which is Japan, Singapore, A and B, and Malaysia. The team that most people should know is actually Japan. Japan's roster, although they don't get enough love or enough effort to play in like the APL and stuff, this is a full dedicated roster of Tokyo Verde Esports. Realize is probably the most notable player that most people do recognize. If you guys have ever seen the crazy 3-person pass play that happened in like 2017, where 3 people all air dribble at the same time and they like pass it, it's absolutely nuts. Maybe you'll be seeing it here, but you should know Japan's team of Tokyo Verde. Realize being the notable. Mario and Tenhao are also players that have been on the team for a bit. Singapore A has some notable names. Same thing with B. And then Malaysia has some team players that you may know or may not know, but Japan definitely the most notable and favored to win. And that is exactly how it goes. Japan does end up 3-0ing their group, not dropping a single game. And because of this page playoff style, based upon what seed you take, you get a advantage moving forward. So if you are first or second, which are the 2 notable ones, you automatically push yourself either into the grand final or round 2. And the results as follows: Japan at 1, Singapore B at 2-1, Malaysia at 1-2, and Singapore A at 0-3. And because of that, that's how you find out the playoff bracket. In round 1 will be Malaysia versus Singapore A. That will be going down today, July 12th at 5, like just before 5 o'clock Central. So figure like almost 6 o'clock. So 5:45 Eastern is when the matches will start. So you can check those out. It's actually a pretty solid time for anybody in the States. It's a little bit late for people over in Europe, but it is definitely watchable. Round 2 will be Singapore B, and they will play the winner of Malaysia, Singapore A. And then Japan gets to play the winner of everything. They just get to sit and wait in the grand final, which I don't know how that's going to go. Obviously, the other teams are going to have a bit of a warm-up, but at the same time, they get to be a little bit more fresh. So that will be interesting, but they have yet to drop a game. I don't expect them to lose anytime soon. That Tokyo Verde team is actually pretty solid, so should be exciting to watch on that one. We're going to switch over now to Asia Maritime and OCE regionals, and the 4 teams are Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, A, and B. For Australia, you guys should know this roster. It's Amphis, Express, and Torsos. This is Ground Zero, the best team, and should be convincingly winning all of their matches. I have no doubt that they'll take the whole thing. They're a very, very good team. In the RLCS, they had comparable results to Team BDS in their dominance, but within OCE region. So very talented roster. They know how to get things done. For New Zealand, which is a unique circumstance, because Kami, who I think is still one of the best players in the OCE region, is from New Zealand and not from Australia. He could not play with Renegades, so he ended up finding a different team with Sprat and CJM. They've been performing quite well. I expect them to take second, but we'll see how that goes as we take a peek at the results. And it is exactly that. We've got Australia going 3-0, dropping 2 individual games. New Zealand at 2-1, going 6-4. Indonesia A at 1-2, and then Indonesia B at 0-3. And that same situation then occurs for the playoff bracket, where you've got Indonesia A and B playing each other. Winner of that plays New Zealand. Winner of New Zealand AB will then go to play Australia in the grand final. Pretty good prize pool, though. I mean, you're talking one of these teams can literally just play one match and win $17,500. It's actually pretty nuts. So that is what has already occurred. Let's talk about what is happening now, technically the past, because these have yet to actually broadcast to the public. We jump over to the Americas region. We've got 2 groups of 4. We've got Group A and Group B. And it does seem like the seeding has gone through some problems again. Many people look at Group B and say this is actually pretty scary compared to what you're getting across the board. I do think there is some underrated players like Coconut on Mexico's really, really good. And some of the other players, I think, in Puerto Rico have some results, but you're looking at players like Noisia, who I think was like, he's like 1900, 2000 MMR. I think he's just shy of Supersonic Legend. I think he's like GC3 right now. There's some like good players in there, but when you're going up against people like Squishy, JNAPS, and Illusion, do I have faith you're going to win? Most likely not. So if I had to guess over the course of Group A, I think Chile is actually super underrated. That is Pawn, Razebull, and Davitrox. Razebull and Pawn are both incredible. Davitrox doesn't get enough credit, but he is still very good. So Chile does have a really good roster. But Group A, I would assume, will be Canada, Chile, Mexico, then Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, Mexico could swap up, but I do think Mexico will probably take it. I do think Chile is still one that might be the only one that can give Canada a run for their money. It just depends on how much seriousness they bring in. So that is Group A. Those guys will be playing in 3 rounds, round robin. Each team plays each team, and winner moves on. The difference, though, with these playoffs is because there is 8 teams. It is a double elimination bracket, which I'll show you guys here in a sec. In Group B, you've got Argentina, Brazil, United States, and Uruguay. I think United States is going to win the whole thing. Guarantee Chicago and First Killer are way too good. I don't think they've dropped a game yet. Sure, they've lost like individual games, but series, they've been perfect. I don't think they've dropped a single series, is how I should say it. I could go back and check, but that's a lot of homework I don't want to do. I'm being honest. Brazil, again, really good. Astromix, Snips, and Jan. Jan, again, I'm going to continue to emphasize this man's name. I think he's absolutely cracked. But I think Brazil could do some pretty crazy stuff. The fun thing about this, too, is we do get to see some international competition. Ping, I think everything is being played on US East, if I can remember correctly, which obviously unfair advantage for people like Canada as well as United States. I don't know how much of an effect that's going to have. Brazil, I'm not sure on their ping. Usually it's like in the hundreds, I think it was like 110, 120. So I do think United States is going to get an easy victory, although I do think they're the best team. As for the other teams, I think Uruguay is pretty good. Math, TRS, and Navarro, obviously notable names. Saro, AJG, and Shad. Argentina, also very good. I do think, obviously, Argentina missing their top tier boy in Razebull, who's playing for Chile across the other side. I do think that'd be interesting, though, if Chile and Argentina both make it through, which I assume they will. You could see Razebull having to play his own teammates at one point, which would be cool. So I do think the one that is kind of the odd one out is probably going to be Uruguay in that region, just because I do think that Brazil team is very, very talented. So Group B is known as the group of death in this one, but it is nothing compared to the EMEA region. So that is what is happening yesterday, technically, when I'm recording this video. So we will see how Americas progresses. If we jump over then to the EMEA regional, we have another 8 teams, and this is where I think a lot of the seeding issues came from, is primarily Group B. You can look at Group B, and it is literally the 4 best teams in this event. United Kingdom, I think, is the only one that you can make arguments for, because it is basically Guild, but with Archie instead, and a very talented roster. But you look at France, which we all know how good France is. It's also literally just team vitality. You look at Saudi Arabia, which is literally just, Sandrock Gaming. You look at Germany, which is Rizix, Tox, and Catalysm. Also very notable players. I think you only can make the argument for UK over Germany. And then in the Netherlands, you got Mike Boy, Though, and Oli, another really talented roster. So it's like a lot of people were seeing this and like, what the actual hell is going on? Maybe we should swap over like Norway or Czech Republic or something over, which, I mean, Czech Republic has also got some pretty talented players with Nalman, Lottie, and Cyrax. So again, there's a lot of really good depth in EU. I think no matter what, as much as people and myself are, critiquing the seeding and the complications with IWO, I will always put emphasis on competitive integrity. I want to make sure the best teams are advancing. That way we don't see any backlash and things aren't diminished. A lot of times when you see problems like this, things will progress, the players will play, they'll shut up and do what they're supposed to. But then after it's over, they have these tweets or thoughts that are just, it kind of diminishes the efforts of the event. And a lot of this stuff can be avoided, which is unfortunate. I do know that a lot of feedback is being given to the production team over there to try to help with these situations. But once things are kind of solidified, it's hard to retroactively go back. So hopefully better luck next time kind of situation, which is unfortunate. I will say, though, as a fan, if I'm taking this from a like, I don't really care what happens, I'm just sitting to watch and enjoy some Rocket League against, national teams. This will be entertaining. Group B is going to be absolutely nuts. That is going down on the 13th of July, and we'll be starting at 6:30 Eastern. So some exciting things to pay attention to on the 13th on Tuesday, which I will most definitely be watching. And then I'll update you guys on those in the future. So as a reiteration, Asia Mainland and Asia Maritime OCE have finished their group stages. Americas are going down on the 13th alongside EMEA. So I actually got ahead of myself. Americas and EMEA will be starting on Tuesday. So tomorrow, make sure you guys tune into that. It will be absolutely fantastic. Americas will be in the morning with Europe and the rest being at night to follow. So a lot of exciting matches. They then go into a playoff bracket, which will then happen on the 14th, literally the next day. So a lot of exciting things happening here. The only downfall, though, is that you are going to have today, when this video comes out, the playoff brackets for Asia. So the next like 4 or 5 days is just going to be back to back to back Intel World Open for people to tune into, just so you all are aware. I hope I didn't miss anything. I know it's a lot. I kind of scatterbrained this. But if you would like to stay up to date on any of this kind of stuff, if you want to know how the teams got there, I do have a document that I use in my Twitch chat. Go to my Twitch chat, twitch.tv/LAWL. I stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday. Unless I got other weird stuff going on, which I do this week, which I'll tell about you guys on a video, I think on like Wednesday. I don't know. I'm trying to get stuff done ahead of time. It's hard. But it'll tell you which teams have qualified, which qualifier they played in, who's representing each region, all that kind of stuff. And then I have links to Liquipedia in the description where I'm watching and showing it, and all these brackets are probably coming from. So just keep that in mind. But if I did miss anything, let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you guys would like to add. But as always, if you guys enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. Trying to hit 50K by the end of the year. We are getting there. Your guys' support has been absolutely crazy, which I do greatly appreciate it. But that is going to do it for today's Rocket League news. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Peace.